and welcome to Florida Car Stories. I'm Raphael, your host, and we're going to be discussing a few different car stories. And today, our guest is Tom Guillot. Welcome aboard, Tom.
Good morning. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and for those that don't know, Tom Guillot is an awesome friend. He is from a father of 3 children.
Yeah, I got 3.
Mentoring everyone that I know of. If you mention his name, everybody does this. So anyways, today we're going to jump right into some of his old cars that he's owned, and we'll start off with the first one. Tom.
Yes.
Tell me about the first car you owned.
Man, I wish it was an exciting story.
Okay.
But it's just sad, right? So I'm in high school. I'm getting ready to graduate. I've been working. I was working at Publix. I've been saving up, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm going to get a Camaro or a Mustang or something like that. And I go to start figuring out what I can afford. And I drove home with a 1987 Chevy Cavalier.
The Cavalier.
Yeah.
The Cavalier. 87.
2.8 liter engine in that bad boy.
Whopping 130 horsepower.
Possibly. Yes. Yes.
Now, where'd you pick that one up from?
Standard transmission.
Oh, is it manual?
Oh, I thought it was a race car. Yeah. I tore the tranny out of it in about 2 years.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a 86 Cavalier. It was a coupe or a 4-door?
It was a coupe.
It was a coupe.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
it's a Z24. So it had like the gray skirting along it. So it looked really well, it looked kind of cool.
it was. I mean, you were how old at that time?
I was 18.
For an 18-year-old to have a coupe with a sport package, the Z package is the sport package.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? So when I was shopping for your kid a car, and I mentioned that Z package, did it ever?
Oh yeah,
you knew because of the Cavalier?
Yes, yeah. He was gonna get the Z package on his first car.
Ah.
So basically, with Raphael, I needed a truck for my son. He was looking for his first truck, so I kind of told him what I was looking for, and Raphael went to the auction and went on this hunt and found my son a Chevy Colorado, and I said, does it have the Z package? And it was a little Z71, and it's awesome. It just has something to it.
So you and your son both bought Chevy products that have the Z package.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! I could have used that against you to get more money out of you.
You totally could have gotten more money out of it.
So all right. But while you had it, you blew up the clutch because it was a manual.
Yeah.
2 years.
Tore it up.
Just torn. Were you street racing it?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I was racing all my buddies, and I lost every time.
So all right. So and then where'd you pick that up from? Was it like somebody you knew? Was it?
No,
like
I got that from a dealership.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I got it from a dealership down in South Florida. It was a Chevrolet dealership. I'd gone over and looked at the Fords first because I really wanted a Mustang. And then I realized that I was not Mustang material financially at the time. So that didn't happen. And, I ended up there and went to the Chevy dealership thinking if I can't afford a Mustang, maybe I can afford a Camaro. And ended up with a used Chevy Cavalier Z24.
Hey, that's a good start.
Yeah.
That's a good start. Yeah. All right. So what happened after the race car that you had?
Well, like I say, I tore it up pretty quickly and ended up going to a Ford Bronco.
Oh, those are cool.
Not the old ones.
Oh,
I was at that point. I had transitioned to having to like my parents were no longer helping with the car, so it was an older Ford Bronco.
Not like what we think about, like cool, like retro. Lifted.
Not so much. No.
Ford Bronco. So you finally got into the Ford lineup.
Yeah, I got into the Ford lineup. I thought about Dodge, but Ford at the time was what I could afford.
So why not like a Honda or a Toyota? Like were they popular? Wait, this was in the what? In the
I'm 80s? Not that old. It was in the mid-90s.
It was in the 90s.
Mid-90s.
So Honda Toyota was like popping, right?
Toyota was popping. Honda had just come onto the scene and was really big. I've always been an American car guy. So as we walk through this, what you're going to realize is that I've never in my life owned a foreign car. Not a Honda, not a Mazda, not a Toyota. I've never no Infinities, none of that. It's always been American made.
That's cool. That's cool. I could sense the American flag just flying over.
It was my grandfather's influence. He was a World War II vet. And he told me, you will always buy an American car. So my dad always had American cars, right? So he had Lincoln, and Oldsmobile back in the day, the Pontiacs. So for me, I was just kind of
this is the culture. This is what you live in.
To this day. Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So you went from the Ford Bronco, this is in the 90s, okay? And then this got you through college, or like where did it get you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it got me through my college years for sure.
Through the college years.
And then
you played baseball in your college.
I did.
So you pulled up in this, I can imagine you right now, the baseball, like your practices, right?
At the field.
And you pull up, and what are the other kids driving?
Well, I went to a really, really nice college.
Yeah.
And I originally was pulling up in the Cavaliers in the Chevy, and I would literally just fishtail into the parking lot.
Which takes a lot on a front wheel drive.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Doesn't help. A front wheel drive.
Yeah.
Fishtailing is a lot of work.
You hammer the brakes, pull the emergency brake, and I had it figured out.
That's a lot of work.
But yeah, I mean, my buddies, they had the Nissans, the 300Zs, or the Mazdas,
the baseball guys,
the RX-7, yeah, and then you had your other guys who had the gun racks in the back of their F-150s, their Fords, or whatever. So I kind of was a hybrid of both.
Yeah,
I've always been a guy who I tend to end up with trucks, but I really like fast cars.
Fast cars is your thing.
But I've only had a couple.
Well, we're gonna fast forward through, we're going through the Ford Bronco. That sounds like it was your Publix years, college years.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward. You did some business. You got into the audible business.
Yeah.
By the way, how's the audio on this?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's not bad. Okay. So you got into the audio business, built up this big company, and then what was a fun car that you picked up in that?
The first fun car that I drove, that I bought once we started to establish our business, I bought a Pontiac G8 GT. They brought it back for just a couple years. The rear wheel drive Pontiac.
That's right.
With the turbo V6, and
I
have at that time I was looking at the 5 Series, the BMW. I even considered the Mercedes. I looked at everything else. And it was funny because I just couldn't force myself to buy a Mercedes or an Audi or a BMW. I'm like, or Lexus even. I'm like,
your grandfather's just your grandfather's just like
the ghost of my grandfather
over you.
He's like, get the Pontiac. And it was the first time Pontiac had come out with a rear-wheel drive sports car in a long time. So that was my favorite car.
It was
probably
the Pontiac,
I've ever had.
the
G8.
The G8.
Mm-hmm, the GT.
It was a
twin
turbo.
Mm-hmm.
So it had the vet motor in it.
Yeah.
With the turbo.
Yeah.
I already know your car lineup, so I could see the future connections happening here. This is all making sense now.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That had been a lot of fun, especially if you came from the world of drifting in a front wheel drive car with a handbrake.
Oh yeah.
To now you actually have a functional real wheel drive.
I could go.
Yeah.
I could go, and my goal, and I'm not exactly a young kid at this time.
Yeah.
I'm talking mid-30s, and my goal was to find the kids with the souped up Mustangs or the Chargers and just sit there and just blow them up with my little Pontiac.
Go. Yeah. Just go.
Yeah. So
where did you buy that one at? Where was that?
I bought that one here in town at the Pontiac dealership. Back Wade Rawlison used to have Pontiac in GMC.
Oh, okay. Was Don close there at that time? Tall basketball player guy?
No, he was not. Sam Esposito was my guy.
Sam Esposito. Now I can imagine right now an Italian guy with yay tall, like fast talking.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah, come here, Tom.
Sam Esposito. And I loved working with him because he enjoyed the negotiation process.
Yeah.
And obviously as someone who trains professional salespeople, I've always said I hate to buy things,
Yeah.
but I love being sold.
Yeah.
So to sit down and have a guy, he was really good at his job. I'm not sure if he's still in the business or not, but he was a lot of fun to work with.
The Pontiac of Gainesville.
Yeah, and they carried the
Wade Rolfs.
Yeah, Wade Rolfs, and they had the GMCs at the time. They had just discontinued carrying I think the Cadillacs had already moved off their property at that time, and they carried the Buicks. So they had all the Buick line there as well.
And this is what era? This is
probably mid 2000s.
Yeah, in the mid 2000s.
Mid 2000s. I had a couple cars in between.
Yeah.
The Bronco and the Pontiac. I had gone through a Ford Contour, which was the
round.
It was awful. It was such a bad car.
It was like a sports Taurus, right?
It was awful.
Like a little sporty mid-size in between Taurus.
Poor decision making right there. That was a poor decision on that one. Nice. Right. So, I had that, and then from there, I had a couple SUVs. I had the GMC had an SUV they made. I forgot what it was called.
Envoy?
That was pretty good. The Envoy. Yeah. Man. I had the Envoy. And then I had the Envoy XL, which was the long heavy duty one. Yeah, I should have just gone and gotten the Tahoe at that point, but I didn't.
So you end up with the Pontiac G8 GT, right? And then what was the next fun car that you got? Or what's the next ride? It was no. What's the next ride? What's the next ride?
The next ride after that was a GMC Yukon.
The Yukon. Oh man.
So I had kids.
Yukon. Yeah, this is
so
matching up.
You go from living the easy life, all of a sudden you've got children, and it's like, oh, I need a truck. So, we got the Yukon with the,
Did you get a Denali, the SLT?
I had the Denali.
The Denali.
Yeah, I had the Denali.
Yeah, that's such a cool ride.
Yeah.
I've always liked, they age so nicely. They are classic look. They're a big square foot mansion on the road.
Yeah,
and
super good.
Throw 3 rows up, and you can throw stuff in the back.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I became familiar with at that point was my wife. I finally, this is the only time I've ever personally bought a car that was not American. It was not for me, but my wife got a Honda Odyssey at that time because we had the kids.
She embodied the motherhood life.
She became the minivan mom, and she took one for the team, and
took one for the team.
Went all in on the minivan mom, and the Odyssey was nice. Now we looked at the Toyotas at that point as well. And Dodge Caravan was a big one back then. But
number one selling minivan in America.
Yeah, but she loved that Honda Odyssey.
Yeah,
matter of fact, she still drives a Honda Pilot now. So she became a Honda girl at that point.
She converted.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So as we start wrapping up all these transitions in your life, it sounds like when I'm hearing your story, you had your, when you're a young kid, you had your college day cars,
mm-hmm.
you had your family vehicles, you had your CEO, vehicle as well. For those that are listening, any advice for those people that are out there that's like, man, this is my advice to you as you're going through these different stages?
Get something you're going to enjoy driving if you're on the road a lot. That was it. So I also, we skipped over the midlife crisis car, which was the Cadillac CTS-V.
This is by the way, this is how I got to know you. CTS-V.
Yeah.
At a Christian business meeting,
mm-hmm.
we walk out to the parking lot, and I see this absolutely gorgeous monstrosity of a beast vehicle.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
And now I'm in a Chevy Silverado, so I got through it.
So enjoy. All right, enjoy. If you're gonna put a lot of time on the road, right? Yeah. Get something that's fun.
Get something you're gonna enjoy. For me, I'm all about trying to buy cars that have some mileage on them already.
Yeah.
I'm not a big new car. As a business guy, I have a hard time justifying buying new. So get something with some mileage on it. Not a whole bunch, but for me, like I know when I came to you for my son's Chevy Colorado, we found a 3-year-old truck with like 26,000 miles on it. It's perfect.
Depreciated, 30-40%.
Yeah, someone took the pop on it. They took care of it. We got the truck, and he loves it. That was
any regrets in your life?
The Ford Contour.
Because I couldn't enjoy it.
I couldn't enjoy it. It was awful. But other than that, everything's been great. I mean, I'm thankful, and when it comes to cars, it's fun for me. It's fun. I'm not a huge car collector guy, but get something you're going to enjoy. Be responsible when you buy. Don't buy new if you don't have to. Buy something you can afford. Don't become car poor.
Car broke, car poor.
Yeah,
as we call it.
Absolutely.
And as far as like advice of websites to go to, like what would you say is like, man, here's some like cool tools that you've used in the past since you bought a lot of cars?
Well, now I just use you, right? So it used to be I would have to go to True Cars or one of these places and try to figure out what a good deal was. I mean, Auto Trader back in the day when I was young, right?
Auto Trader was the king.
And we used to actually look at the magazines, right? Like the Auto Trader magazines. But for me, it's I can't really relate anymore because I literally just call you and say, hey, here's what I want.
Yeah, it's really cool to use a broker.
Yeah.
So there, the as brokers or people that are inside of the community, we work really hard. We work really hard to like just try to deliver those good products. Tom, thank you so much for just coming on, sharing all of your different stage stories. It's really cool to hear all that, and we appreciate you, and we're very thankful, man. And if somebody wanted to check out your business, where would they go to?
Yeah, go to ushearingsolutions.com.
Awesome.
Check me out and hit me up if you need any help with your audio needs.
That's right. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good day.